Hey world, this is Anywhere the Needle Drops. I am your host, Justin Flagel, and welcome to the show. If it's your first time here, welcome, join us, one of us, and welcome back for all of the regular listeners here. Oh man, so what's going on? It's April, it's springtime, it's the period of the year of life, of vibrance, of energy, and I'm feeling that. I hope you're all feeling that too. We've got, it's a little cold today as I'm recording this, but we still have a lot more light out there in the world, more sunshine. We've got some things greening up. We've got some things growing up from the dirt. And on a more philosophical level, I guess it does also feel like that, we are energizing and growing and digging out of the dirt as well. You know, we're living in some difficult times, but I was so happy to see the huge numbers for those protests this past Saturday. Man, just I couldn't make it, but I had to work, but I was just thrilled by the pictures. I knew a lot of people out at all of the nearby protests here, and just the lines down the streets full of people speaking truth to power, pushing back, and just making sure that we're all taking care of each other. It was a wonderful thing to see, very, very inspiring, and it's what we have to do right now in this moment that we're living in. We cannot despair. We live. We fight on, and as I've been saying lately, we also dance. We have fun. We enjoy life. We dance so we can fight, so we can dance, so we can fight, etc., and all that. And good job, folks, for getting out there and doing the thing. And keep on, taking care of each other and taking care of yourselves and living life to its fullest and enjoying great music like we have today. With our guest, Andy Sydow. Andy Sydow is the 2024 runner-up for the Acorn's Singer-Songwriter Contest. And I love that contest. I love the Acorn because, even if you don't end up winning that contest, it seems like it ends up paying off for you just, having been a part of it. Andy is coming back for a headlining show in a couple of weeks on Saturday, April 26th. He's got some opening acts locally taking care of things for him to open up the show. We've got Doug Harsh, we've got Molly Cooper, and then Andy's gonna have a great show for us on Saturday, April 26th. So we thought we'd have him on to chat about his world, chat about some music, and see what he's got in store for us for that show. And also, this is exciting. We've got some fun in store for you. This is a first time for us here, but the Acorn and I, we've teamed up. We are actually giving away 2 pairs of tickets to the April 26th show with Andy. It can't be easier to enter this thing. It's really simple. All you need to do, head over to your Instagram, your Facebook, find the social media for either us, Red Truck Productions, or for the Acorn. You'll see the posts for Andy's show, and just comment. Leave a comment to those posts. Make sure you use the hashtag RedChuckAcorn giveaway. That gets you entered. And then we'll do a drawing, and we'll find a couple of lucky winners. We've got 2 pairs of tickets we're giving away to that show. So not a bad deal. It's fun to team up with the Acorn and bring y'all some music. So it's going to be good. And speaking of bringing some music to you, we'll talk to Andy here in a moment. But first up, we're going to throw you a little of his music, and then you'll hear my conversation with Andy. Make sure you head on over to your social media and enter in that contest, get some free tickets to see that show. And take care of everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Spread love. Here's to life.
Will you show me every little thing about love? Take me somewhere I don't know a thing about love. I've been all the things that go-betweens with empty means before. I've been flying high to the girl that says she needs a little more. You don't seem that way, my dear, you don't seem that way, my dear. take a risk, take a holiday from our fears, my dear. Will you show me every little thing about love? And take me somewhere I don't know a thing about love. If I was insincere, another beer would take me through the night. But here with you, I look forward to the crow that brings the light. You got everything I need. You've got everything I need. Pull my heart from my sleeve, make me believe you got everything I need. Will you show me every little thing about love? And take me somewhere I don't know a thing about love. Show me every little thing about love. And take me somewhere I don't know a thing about love. Will you show me every little thing about love? And take me somewhere I don't know a thing about love.
Where are you at today? Where are you coming to me from?
Today I'm in Denver. I live in Nashville, but I'm in Louisville near Denver today.
All right, awesome. All right. So do you have Nikki talked to me briefly about things, but do you have ties here originally, or did you just come up for the singer-songwriter contest, or how'd you find your way to Michiana, as we call it?
Yeah. I get it. I've never heard that. Michiana.
Some people, they don't care for it, but we're kind of stuck with it. It's been Michiana for decades, and we're just sort of stuck with it. So there's this weird kind of cultural hole where there's parts of Michigan that don't really get recognized, politically, culturally, economically by the rest of Michigan, and sort of the same with Indiana. And so we're our own thing, Michiana. So
you stick together. I like it.
That's right.
Like it. Well, yeah. I somehow found the song contest probably from a friend a few years ago. I think it was 2021, and I was selected as a finalist, but I couldn't go. I was going to record a record that same week, and I just couldn't move things around. And it was the record I put out just this past October. Anyway, so I re-entered again last year in 2024 after, I guess, a couple years, and got in again, and this time got second place, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And just kind of met Nikki and Michael and everybody through that.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the things I noticed about that contest is it's not just a contest for the winners. I mean, of course, you go there, you want to win and get that prize and be the person that walks away that day with that victory. But I've known so many artists who have come through that contest, and just even being a finalist in it can do a lot for you,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So all right. So, and as I understand it, not your first rodeo when it comes to, singer-songwriting contest. You seem to have a bit of a resume there. Do tell.
Well, I entered, I think the first one I entered was the Kerrville New Folk Contest, I think 2021. And I was a finalist in that, but it was online. So we did it remote because of COVID. But that was really cool to be a finalist in that. And then I had entered a few that year and was a finalist in several things. And I just thought, I keep getting lucky. I keep entering things and being a finalist. So, for, I guess, a couple year period, like 2021 through, I guess, last year, I entered several contests, and, was finalist and got to do a bunch of cool things. Got to do Kerrville a second time, and go do it in person. And then this year I've judged a couple contests, so it's been kind of a fun thing. But the song contest, it's interesting because I don't know that it's necessarily like an accurate value of your worth as a writer or anything like that. It's a cool acknowledgement from your peers. But the biggest thing is the connections, like meeting people, like the folks at the Acorn Theater or my peers that I hate to say competed with, but the other finalists, right? The other finalists, like we're friends. We still talk on some of these contests, or we'll play shows together around the country. So it's really a wonderful thing for that reason more than anything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just speaking to the Acorn itself, one of my favorite, local venues and just supporters of the music scene, because they make a point. If you are a part of that contest, even if you aren't a winner, if they see something in you, they're gonna go out of their way to support you. They're gonna find you an opening slot, or or do something to bring you back and get you in front of the audience, which I think is fantastic. One of our lines on this show is give musicians your money, which is sort of a shorthand about supporting musicians. And always props to the Acorn for taking care of the independent and the local music.
Well, I like the slogan, and yeah, big time. They're very supportive, and I've noticed that, they reached out and said, "Hey, let's do it. Let's do something together," which is really really cool. And it's hard out here, uh, touring and playing music and recording songs and making social media content and stuff. So, theaters like the Acorn, uh, where they say, "Hey, we're going to put on stuff. We're going to curate stuff that we believe in," is really really special.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is a full-time job. If you are trying to make music, your career, it's not just the art of it. It's the I do a lot of work with a local musician who is also an alum of that singer-songwriter contest, Abby Thomas. I don't know if you're familiar with Abby, but
No.
I see a lot of what she does behind the scenes. I actually spent most of last year hanging out with her, doing a documentary sort of about her life, and just the day-to-day workflow. Man, it's a lot more than just coming up with that new song. You got to get those social media posts out there, and all that juggling with the schedules, and it's a whole thing. So
Big time. Big
yeah.
time.
Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about the upcoming show here in a bit, but let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about your origins in the world of music. Did you come from, a family or some kind of background where people were playing music, or is that something you found yourself doing on your own?
Yeah, I mean, both my parents play instruments. My dad would play guitar and now plays a little piano and stuff too. And my mom grew up taking piano lessons and was a very fine piano player. So it was just kind of around in the family as a kid. There was instruments around the house. It's something just both my parents did for fun. And I think I kind of found at a young age I had an aptitude for it and loved doing it. And then my parents would take me down to I grew up in near Boulder, Colorado, outside of Boulder a little ways. And my parents would take me into Boulder to see these E-Town radio shows, which was a radio taping at the Boulder Theater where they'd bring in a couple artists. And it was sort of it was curated by the host. And we knew that it was going to be good every week. We didn't always know the artist. We always knew it was going to be good. So I grew up going to those and taking piano lessons, and just really started to love music. And through watching performances my entire childhood, I thought, oh, maybe I could do that when I grow up.
Yeah. Was there ever a point where you got any pushback from the parents as you're looking toward music as your life? Maybe with some concerns about the security of that kind of a path?
Not really. I think when I was looking at what I was going to do after high school, I really wanted to be a music major, and I ended up majoring in jazz piano at CU Denver. But I really wanted to do music. And there was a conversation with my parents of like, well, have you thought about doing music for fun and, or pursuing it, but majoring in something else just in case. And I said, no, I really want to do this. And they were extremely supportive and, uh, you know, they were just kind of ever since then, it's been all good.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's a leap, but we live in a world where even taking the quote unquote safe path doesn't always lead to a lot of actual security. So I meet more and more people since I've been telling stories through writing in this show for well over 10 years now, and I remember talking to people after the recession in '08 and how many people were just sort of taking their lives and turning them towards their passions as opposed to maybe what they were told to do because hey, life is short. Let's try these things out. So
that's no, absolutely. And I also want to add to that too. There's this thing about these art jobs where people are like, oh, how could you possibly be making that work? That's such a risk. And yes, it is. However, there are lots of different ways to make it work in music. There's a huge, I think people see like the starving artist and the rock star, and there's a huge thing in the middle where, 99% of us live.
yeah.
Where, I mean, I tour, I play gigs and I book gigs at home. I teach, I produce, I write songs, I compose for, commercials and things. I mean, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There's performance royalties. It's no one thing that I do to make it work. There's all these different avenues, and it always has ebbed and flowed for me. There's been times in my life where I'm teaching 50 students a week, and there's been times in my life where I'm gigging 5 or 6 nights a week. And it just if you're able to adjust and look at different ways of doing it, it's absolutely doable.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It is all music. All that you just mentioned, whether it's teaching or, the work with, like some of the licensing options that are out there now for musicians to get your music out there and get it placed on shows or that sort of a thing. That is all music. That's all part of the deal. So, yeah, you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you also, let's see, you also have this, I was poking around your website and you've got this, this podcast that you do, and I didn't get a chance to actually listen to it, but it's sort of, it looks like it's maybe kind of about this lifestyle that you lead. Is that accurate?
Yeah. The podcast is called Middle Class Rockstar. And I just interview other people in the industry. It's a lot of times, most of the time it's other artists, songwriters. But I had somebody who runs an online record label on a couple weeks ago, and that was wild and fun. And I've had a lot of really cool guests, and it's fun. I do it just for fun. I've put out, I think we just recorded episode 140, and we're a couple behind in releasing them. But
oh wow, okay, that's prolific.
Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah. But it's been going on for a while too. So I've taken a lot of breaks and stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I have no idea what number we are at, like overall with this show, but I don't think it's that high. And we've been doing it for a dozen years, though we had a long hiatus in the middle there for a while too. So that is impressive. So just host to host, let's get a little podcast nerdy for a minute. How do you go about prepping for your interviews? That's a whole other ball of wax too.
I try to casually listen during the week, like the week of the interview. I'll listen to another podcast that they were on or put on their record when I'm out on my morning walk or whatever, and just get familiar, peruse around the website and just kind of try to come up. I usually just have like a little outline on a notepad.
Yeah.
And then just go for it, because you probably relate to this. Sometimes you'll be really prepared, and then you have these things you want to ask, but then the conversation goes somewhere totally different. And so, I don't know. That's sort of how I do things. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because I am in life in general, I am a preparer person. I'm organized. I'm list making. Some could say controlling even. But so I have learned over the decade plus of doing this. To find kind of that sweet spot in between where I do a little bit of the preparation, but I also have to let there be a natural flow, and that's where I find the best interviews come out of for me. I have over prepared and things have come out a little stale. I've under prepared, and then it gets to be kind of messy, and so. You can see this on the camera here. I think if you see me scratching every once in a while, my go-to item is the yellow legal pad. It's I guess becoming what I'm known for now, which is weird because it was never something I set out for. But my sound guy Paul, had been commenting on the yellow notepad for the last few months or so as we've been doing some collabs. And then the other day I was digging through some old boxes and I found my notes from my very first interview on this show, again, at least 12 years ago, and it was on yellow legal pad. I didn't even know that was what I had started with, but so
Wow.
you find your thing and you make it work. So
That's right. That's right. That's awesome.
yeah. So that's awesome. Have you learned from other musicians over the course of doing that, and anything that maybe has affected how you approach your music career?
Yeah, I mean, every episode somebody says something where I'm like, "Whoa, I haven't thought of that." I have this duo, husband and wife duo called Gold Pine that was on my podcast, and we've done some shows together too. But they were on maybe a year ago, and they were chatting about booking. Which, if you talk to a musician, that's like the one thing where you're like, if you could not do one thing in your business and have someone else do it, everyone's like booking.
Yeah.
No one wants to book their own shows. And partly because, you painstake over every email and you read it back and forth and make sure it's just right. And then you second guess it and this and that. And then people don't respond most of the time. So anyway, I was interviewing Gold Pine and they book all these shows. They have a booking agent as well, but they book a lot of stuff and are touring all the time. And they said, well, we just do the rule of seven. We follow up weekly 7 times with people. And we usually don't hear back until the fourth or fifth follow up. And I thought, man, I never make it that far. If you don't like respond back on my first follow up, I assume you hate me.
Yeah, it can be the rejection is real. It's as doing the same thing for this show. It can be similar where you doing those reach outs. Hey, will so and so come on the show, and navigating when it comes to bigger artists, that the various tiers of management, and sometimes you just are like, I guess that's not going to happen. But then every once in a while, you break through and it makes it all worth it. So the rule of seven, I'm going to adopt that for booking for this show. Actually, that's fantastic.
Well, people are busy,
Yeah.
and we get inundated with so much stuff that I think it's a good, I like it. It's helped me. I like the practice.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that. Just the inbox for this show and the broader Red Chuck Productions thing that I do. That inbox is insane. If you are a musician listening to this and you've sent me an email in that inbox and I've never replied, it's not because I don't think your music's good. I probably just never got around to listening to it. It's just there's so much. So keep on trying. Eventually I'll get to it. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. All right. So when you're teaching these kids, are you obviously you're teaching them the fundamentals, but are you also throwing them a little wisdom as a full-time musician? Are you giving them a little idea of what they'd be in for if they decided to go that direction?
I'm not teaching much these days. I have a couple students a week, but I had a period of time where it was all day, every day, and then go to my gig at night. And I did like ensembles and summer camps and, all kinds of stuff. So, it really just depended on the student. There's the kids, whose mom drops them off as something to do for 45 minutes or whatever, and the kid's not that into it, but we still find a way, and then there's the kids that want to do it full time, or thinking about doing it in college, or even just joining a high school band. And so, we'll talk about maybe some business things or some songwriting things, or there's the kids that are music readers that you have to force to think outside the box a little bit, and there's the kids that don't want to read music but improvise, and you got to embrace that, but also hand them a piece of music every once in a while. So
can't break
it's
the rules if you don't know the rules, right?
yeah, but I think my biggest thing with teaching has always been just what does the individual need, to for whatever, right, to make themselves better, whatever they want to do, and even if it's not music related, if it's just a little hobby, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, music is a big part of all of our lives, whether or not we're doing it professionally or not. So any little bit is good. So, all right. What about, let's go back again. What about listening? What were you listening to growing up? Or I always like the question, what was your family or people around you listening to that influenced you?
Like in terms of like artists.
Yeah. Yeah. What was on the parents' record player or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we oftentimes would pick up a CD from E-Town, with the artists that we'd see. And I saw so many great artists, you know, North Mississippi All Stars, Natalie Merchant, Buddy Guy, Ben Harper, uh, Jackie Green. I could go on for Tiff Mary. I could go on for days and days and days.
That's a great list.
Yeah, I mean, so that was a lot of what we listened to. Is we would go see the show and just love it, and pick up a CD, and it would be in the CD player. And then of course, I went through my parents' old CD collection, all the Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and the Eric Clapton and Heart and stuff, so it was a pretty wide variety of stuff as a kid, I would say.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned Natalie Merchant because she's one of my major dream interviews for this show. The title of this show, Anywhere the Needle Drops, that is actually inspired directly by her from an interview she did on NPR a long, long time ago. And it was kind of just a throwaway thing she said about, having a certain kind of a sound wherever you drop the needle on the record. And I'm like, boom, that's it. That's the name of the show right there. So I hope to one day sit with her and tell her that story. That would be amazing because I love her music, both her solo stuff.
I bet you'll do that someday. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, well, and her old bands, the Maniacs, they've been on that Acorn stage, so
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so you are going to be back up on a stage that has held legends. I mean, Steve Earle's been there multiple times, coming back this summer, I think. Yeah. Do you sense that power when you get up there? Because I know it's it's a small town, it's a smaller venue, but I mean, there's something special in that room.
You know what there is? I knew right when we walked in. And then it was how well attended the song contest was too. It was pretty wild. Like people just coming out to. I mean, it was a full house. It was more than everybody's parents or whatever in the audience. It was a full house, and it was a cool, there was the stage and the building, and the special thing about that, but also there was just a cool energy of, you can tell it's a community that really appreciates the arts.
Yeah, they have done such a great job of fostering that, of creating, that listening room kind of thing. So yeah, can't say enough about the Acorn. And I guess while we're on it, let's talk a little bit about that. So we've got you coming back to the area about 2 weeks after this episode drops for those listeners out there. So you'll still have time to get some tickets. So tell us about what's in store for you on your return to the Acorn.
April 26th, I'm going to be back at the Acorn Theater. It got turned into a solo show. It was maybe going to be an orchestra show because I have a record where I arranged some of my songs for a string quartet and a horn. We're maybe going to look at that down the line, but this is going to be a solo show this time, playing piano and guitar and singing and telling stories and stuff. And Doug Harsh and Molly Cooper will be performing as well. And so I'm really excited to play with them too. It's just going to be a fun night of music, I think.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a couple of local acts right there. I know Doug in particular. I booked him for some stuff here in Niles as well. So that'll be a fun show at the Acorn for sure.
Yeah.
So okay, the it's not happening for the show, but the orchestra thing. What is that like? What is it like to take your music and then have to, you know, amp it up for that orchestral kind of vibe?
Well, adding, I call it cinematic folk. It's it's really what it does. It just adds this element of cinema, this grandeur, if you will. Uh, but I went back, I think what 2018, 2019, and I took online classes from Berkeley, and got a certificate in arranging and composition for film and television. And so we learned about how to write for each of the individual instruments of the orchestra. And I just had so much fun. And, we would rescore famous movie scenes with our own music and turn it in at the end of the week for our assignments. It was like the most fun classes I've ever taken, I think. But I wanted to, I've just been busy with the singer, songwriter, artist thing, to really delve fully into a composer world, right? So I said, well, how do I combine these two things? And I thought maybe I can take some of my songs and do arrangements of them. So it's really cool because it starts off with just taking the parts of the band and saying, okay, where can I maybe distribute these amongst the strings and the horn? And then new melodies pop up, and it's it's really fun. It almost feels like Sudoku, except for there's infinite right answers instead of one right answer, but it feels like a puzzle, I guess is what I'm getting at, is when you get all the parts just right and you listen back to it, you're like, okay, that's sweet. That's it right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've known a few artists that have had opportunities to take their music and connect it with an orchestra and do a big show around it. And the results are always magnificent, but it seems like such a huge amount of stress and work to try to craft that all together. Particularly, you mentioned earlier, not all musicians are trained in theory. And so when you come up against, not against, but when you come up to, with an orchestra to try to start crafting those things together, all of a sudden that kind of matters. And you have to figure out how to merge those two worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's interesting because you can come up with an idea that sounds really cool and then realize that the range that the instruments are in is just like covering up your vocal or something, so there is some tiptoeing around and stuff too.
Yeah, a lot of prep work that goes into that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got the latest album. Is it Night Skin? Is that the album?
Yes. Yep.
All right, so tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it was recorded at Dockside Studios down in Maurice, Louisiana, which is a little outside of Lafayette. Um, and it was produced by my favorite artist growing up, Anders Osborne. Um, I first saw him as a teenager and I just was captivated by the live show and went home and just started listening to all the music and became a fan where anytime he came through Colorado, I would go see him perform. And just it became a big influence on my writing and playing. And so to get to do a record with Anders producing and playing and singing backing vocals was just was a pretty wild full circle moment. I'm looking for a better word than wild, but I think that's it. It's just a wild full circle moment. So it's a very special record to me, and I did a Kickstarter and raised just under $16,000 to press vinyl and promote it, do radio and stuff. And my mom did the album art. I'm really excited about the record and how it turned out, and I just feel very fortunate that I got to do a record like this.
Yeah, definitely. And your mom doing the art too, that's so cool. Like that's a great collaboration right there. I love that.
Your audience probably can't see it because I think this is audio only, but here's the art right here. Oh, it's all blurry.
Oh, yeah, I think it's that's all
I accidentally have blur mode on, so I don't know. But anyway.
We'll toss the stuff in the show notes so people can check it all out. So yeah, this technology, I tell you, it's like always updating the video calling. So
Yep.
yeah. So when you're putting together this album, how does that go about for you? Is it just a matter of, all right, I've got enough songs now, let's slap them together and make an album? Or is it more an intentional, like, here's a theme, here's an arc, or, these songs go together for some reason? What's that look like for you?
I've done it all those different ways. With this record with Anders, it was, I just sent him what I thought were my 20 or 25 best songs at the time. And he went through them, and we did a couple like Zoom meetings like this where we talked about lyrics and he said, hey, I like these 9, let's roll with these and let's work on them a little bit. So that's how it was for that record. That was really the only rhyme and reason, was just letting him pick. But with the orchestra record Measure 1 that came out last year as well, that I was thinking about songs mostly that I'd already put out. Maybe one that wasn't out yet, and just thinking about what's going to sound best with this instrumentation. I wanted to write to the strengths of orchestra rather than, that was the theme I was going for with that one. But there's other times too where, if it's a full band record, you're kind of thinking in terms of rock and roll or a certain theme or whatever. It's always fun to put together, even in this singles world of 2025. It's so fun to put together an album. And the way I make it current is I just say, when I put out an album, it's 8 singles and 2 bonus tracks. I'm still doing the Spotify game or whatever, but
yeah, it is funny how the streaming thing has changed things. I'm a big fan of the album as a format, but I also, I have to recognize that, the game has changed, as far as that goes. But also, if you look back at music history, the album wasn't necessarily the way things were always done anyway. I mean, there have been other eras of singles only,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. It's, I think everybody's always nostalgic for how things used to be, when they were growing up or whatever. And I totally relate to that, listening to, I wasn't listening to records as a kid, but I was listening to CDs. I'm a 90s kid, an early 2000s kid. So, it's cool that records have made a comeback. And I also totally understand the appeal of singles. And in between albums, I put out EPs, I put out singles. If I record 2 songs at home that, are an A side, B side, I'll put out 2 songs. It's just fun to create it and present it.
Yeah, and it's not really economically feasible to do singles via vinyl or some kind of physical thing, but right. That can also be just the method of creating an experience for your fans, for your listener. I can't stop talking about a few months back when Drive By Truckers did their anniversary re-release of Southern Rock Opera. And I had all those songs in multiple formats, but I bought that vinyl because I spent an entire weekend sitting cross-legged on my floor with my headphones on, listening to those records and flipping through that book and everything. And I mean, it adds a different experience when you do that kind of thing too,
Yep. Yeah, it absolutely. And you're right. It's, especially as an indie artist, that pressing vinyl is tough to begin with. Right now I would say I'm not pressing a single, if I'm going to do vinyl, it's got to be a, not even just an album, but a special project with a special reason to make that investment. But you want to open up the vinyl and see what color it is and look at the liner. That's all part of it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's all part of the experience. I think in the very digital world that we live in, there's a desire for something a little more tangible to kind of hold on to. physically hold on to sometimes,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, obviously, when did the album come out? The new one?
October 24th.
Okay. All right. So, are you kind of in a mode where you're just, out there promoting that, touring on that? Are you already thinking about the next thing? How does that work for you? Or do you even have a choice in that matter? Is it more like the muse is driving you?
All of it. Everything you just said. Yes. So something I did after recording Night Skin is I re-recorded the whole record solo acoustic, a little while later. And I didn't know if I'd ever do anything with it, but right now, every couple weeks I'm putting out, acoustic Night Skin songs. So I'm still kind of milking that cow a little bit, if you will. I'm heavily promoting Night Skin, but also want to make sure I've still got new stuff coming out, because that's kind of what you got to do in this current music climate. So I've got acoustic versions coming out, and then my band, when they were out in at my place in Nashville for our last tour, we went to a friend's house and re-recorded the 4 songs that had the most streams on the record, just different versions of them with my live band. So still promoting that, but trying to keep it fresh and new. At the same time, our next full band record is done. It's mastered. We're just in the process of like album art and figuring out release strategy and stuff. And at the same time, I just applied for a grant to do another orchestra record, Measure 2. I don't know if I'll get it or not, but yeah, I just have creative ADD all over the place.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Wow, yeah, just jumping right back into it. That's pretty impressive.
Well, it's you know what, I love it. I love I love making things, and I just put out a single for opening day because I'm a big baseball fan, called It's Baseball Season Again. That was mostly just recorded at home, and yeah, I don't know. It's fun to make things, and um, I don't know. They have an idea, and you do it and stick it out there and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned your band. Now, with the band, is that sort of like I'm Andy and then here's the backing band, or is that a more collaborative process when you're doing the band?
Well, it's always been Andy with a band, whoever is in the backing band, but I've had the same players for the last few years for the most part. And so when we did this Night Skin album release, even though they didn't play on the album, we did a show at the Bluebird Theater in Denver, and we billed it as Andy Sydow in the minor league. And then that's how we've done our tours and stuff this year so far. So if it's an orchestra show, it's Andy and the Measure 1 Orchestra. There's the solo shows that I do just under Andy Sydow, and then band shows for the time being we're billing as Andy Sydow in the minor league, because though it's my songs and I have final veto power over stuff, they've really become bandmates. And in this last record I was telling you we just recorded but haven't put out yet, we co-produced it together, all 5 of us. So
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of become a band, I think.
So speaking of the production, do you typically, is it like a home studio typically, or do you have, a go-to studio you seek out, or is it like you have these opportunities like that, the last project that you just kind of go for, and then it's maybe something different the next time? Do you have like a safe home studio situation that you go to? And I know,
Yeah.
home could be home, but home could also be like a producer that you're just comfortable with,
Yeah, but both. I do a lot of stuff at home. I'm not, an expert engineer. I know enough to get around, and so I can do a lot of stuff at home. Keyboard stuff and guitar stuff, vocals I can do at home. But I can't do drums. I'm not micing drums. In our rental. It's that's to acoustically treat a room correctly for that or whatever. It's um so when we do like full band stuff, there's a studio in Denver because my band all still lives in Denver, called Mighty Fine. And we do a lot of stuff out of there. And I produce records for other artists out of there a lot of times too. So they've sort of become, like another home base for stuff. But I also have a friend's studios in Nashville that I use for stuff. And the Night Skin was kind of a destination album. I just because I wanted to work with Anders, and that's what that was going to take. So each project is a little different.
Yeah, it's got to go for whatever it needs,
But in terms of the rogue indie artist thing and doing things grassroots, I am able to get a lot done at home. I can do lead vocals and things like that to save on the $100 an hour studio fees or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's one thing. The technology has definitely given us quite a bit as far as options and opportunities as artists. It's opened the floodgates. It seems like, which it can be overwhelming sometimes, and sometimes it can be hard to get your voice above the noise. But it does provide a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, obviously you're out there touring, but so you're in Denver. What is it? Is there, I assume there's some kind of a music scene in Denver. What does music look like if you're hanging out in the Denver area?
Yeah, there's a lot of music going on, and a lot of people, Colorado is one of those destination states. It's beautiful here. We've got the mountains, and I'm out here currently. I'm about to do a solo tour of like the western slope of Colorado. Kind of Grand Junction is maybe the town that you would recognize from out there. But anyway, the scene in general, there's a lot of people here doing music, either with bands that have already done things that move here because they want to be based out of here. But there's a lot of indie artists. There's a strong bluegrass scene. There's a lot of EDM here.
Oh, nice.
There's a lot of, singer-songwriters. There's a blues scene. There's a lot of different things going on. And, it's a little different than, say, in Nashville, where these venues have music all day, every day. It's a little different than that, but there's a really great scene. And I love it here, and I think probably eventually, my wife and I will end up back here long term.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting to a place in time where we have the big music cities like the Nashvilles, but it does also seem like these pockets are popping up all over the country, or probably even all over the world, where there's just like there's something cool happening over there, and there's something cool happening over there.
Yeah, yeah, and in internet too. I mean, technology. You really can do it from anywhere. You can live in Idaho now and be a musician or wherever. It's the nice thing about living in Nashville, I think, is touring. I'm kind of in a nice centralized area where I can travel and easily get home. It's a little more difficult to travel out of a place like Denver, where your next big city is 7 to 8 hours at least in any direction. But the touring is nice, and there's people doing cool musical things all over Nashville. So it's fun to be immersed in that scene. But there's a lot of places like Denver that have great scenes, that I really love. And you can do it from anywhere now, which is really cool. Not everyone can or wants to move to Nashville or LA.
Yeah, I mean, I remember during the dark days of COVID, getting by on Instagram concerts from a lot of my favorite artists, or even some artists that I discovered in that time.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. The online concerts were such a thing for a while.
Yeah.
I did it weekly for a while, and
Yeah.
then on the other days of the week, once I was done teaching, I went remote and taught online lessons, and then I would do my thing on, I think it was Tuesday night. All the other nights watch our friends play, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things on the internet or to lament about the internet, but we do have to remember there's some of those gems there too that are really making things worthwhile. So
Yeah, it's easy to it, it's easy to be on it too much. I know I am, but
yeah, aren't we
a
all?
lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we've got you here in our neck of the woods in April, and then is there more touring? What's your summer looking like?
Yeah, so man, I should look at my calendar. Um, because there's other Michigan stuff actually going on. So the next day I'm going to be in, I believe you say, is it Gables?
Oh yeah, Gables. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, I'm doing a concert listening room house concert series called Howl at the Moon. And that'll be on the 27th. And then I will be back in Hudson doing a concert series on July 31st and Harrisville doing a concert series on August 1st, which I think is on the, I don't know my Michigan geography. I think that's on the complete other end of the state.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's you've got some of those places kind of up on the northern side where you get into some of that deep lake country and whatnot. It sounds like you're traversing the mitten, which yeah. So you get to see a good wide range of audiences. So
Yeah, and if anybody listening to this, wants to host a house concert on my way up or back in July/August, shoot me an email.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Check those show notes. You'll see the links in there. And yeah, do you have any downtime on those tours? Like while you're in Michigan, you get a chance to check out some of the beautiful scenery here or elsewhere on your tour?
Well, July, August, I might have a couple days, to do stuff. We'll see what ends up getting booked because stuff gets booked way out in advance, and then there's this lull of time, and then 2 to 3 months out, other stuff can fill in. It's just kind of you have to be okay with that, being unsure. And part of the indie artist thing. So I kind of will just see what else ends up popping up, and if I can spend some time hanging out, I absolutely will. And on this trip in April, I'm just doing the two shows up here in Michigan, and then I'm going to take in a Cincinnati Reds game on my way back home because it's a nice little halfway point on the drive.
There you go. All right. So baseball, are you one of those people that tries to go to, like, you're touring around anyway? Are you one of those people trying to visit every single stadium in the country?
I've been to every single stadium.
Oh, nice! You've already done it. Okay. Right.
Yeah, and actually, it was a tradition that was started as a kid. For our like summer, when we were on summer break, my brother and I, my dad would take us on just these, couple week road trips, and he would be working, remote a little bit, and we would, go camp and see some baseball parks and just kind of see the country. And it was really special. And then my mom started, joining us as well. And so anyway, I think in 2013 we completed the final stadium, and I think there's a new one or two that we have to hit now. But now when I'm on the road on off days, I like to hit minor league games, or big league games. But minor league's kind of fun because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Out in this part of the country. That was a difference between the West and the East.
Yeah, I'm not a huge baseball person, but we were just talking with some friends. We've got a minor league field just across the state line over in South Bend, and we're out there constantly. It's just a good time.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good day at the ballpark.
Indeed, yeah. Well, all right. So as we wind down, I mean, you've already mentioned a couple of things. It sounds like, but what is next for you in your world of music? Obviously, you've got a summer of shows. Sounds like you've got some new releases in the works. But anything else we have to look forward to?
I think just pushing the train forward. There'll be a new record and more tour dates. Just playing around and always recording and writing and trying to figure out the ebb and flow of everything.
Awesome. Well, I am sorry I can't see you when you're in town, but I do. I hope you have a great show at the Acorn and the rest of the tour also. And yeah, everyone, check the show notes. Check out the show over at the Acorn and everything else that Andy's got going on. Yeah, Andy, thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
I really appreciate you having me and taking the time. Yeah, thanks so much, and hopefully I'll catch you next time in town.
Yeah, definitely. Keep coming back. It's a fun space over here. So
Absolutely, it sure is.
all right, Andy, thank you. Take care.
You too.
You've been listening to Anywhere the Needle Drops from Red Chuck Productions. Keep up on new episodes of this show, our live events, and various creations and other happenings over at redchuckproductions.com or by following us on social media at Red Chuck Productions. Special thanks to Hero Jr. for our theme music. You can check them out over at herojuniormusic.com. That is Hero, Hero, Junior, JR, music.com. A big shout out to Paul Clemson and Theory One Productions for handling sound duties and so much more. Check out their magic over at theory1productions.com. And a big thank you to Earthworks Audio for outfitting the Red Chuck studio. See their microphones and their other products over at earthworksaudio.com. Be sure to support all of our guests by visiting their websites, social media, clicking that subscribe button, seeing them live, and checking out their merch stores. Give musicians and artists your money. We'll be back with the next episode. Until then, thank you for your time. Here's to life.